On February 1st, the budget was presented. And of course, on February 7th at 10 a.m., the repo rates, the reverse repo rates, and all the rates were revised in the economy, right? So this video is going to be delving into the tax part, that is the income tax part of the budget, and of course the rates that which is decided by the monetary policy committee, and of course we'll also be seeing the impact of the uh, impact of the revised tax slabs on the consumption, and also so hello everybody, this is Samvid Narayan and welcome to Samvid Money. So as you can see on the screen, this is the revised tax slabs. Up to 4 lakhs where you have no tax, 4 lakhs to 8 lakhs there will be taxed of 5%, 8 lakhs to 12 lakhs 10%, 12 lakhs to 16 lakhs 15%, 16 to 20 lakhs 20%, 20 to 24 lakhs 25%, and anything above 24 lakhs will be taxed at a rate of 30%. Right? So you will not be taxed even a single amount up to 12 lakhs in the new regime, and the highest tax rate, as you can see, applies only for about 24 lakhs in the new regime. The old tax regime for the upcoming financial year, of course, remains unchanged. So this provides a significant relief for the middle class because it potentially saves about 1.1 lakhs of their income that usually goes in the taxes. And one more thing, the entire presentation of the tax slab is as per Section 87 Clause A of the Income Tax Act. Right? Now, let us see how you can calculate your own taxes as per the new regime. So now let us next see the summary of the economic impact of the budget and especially the personal income tax cut. So first, as I told you, 1.1 lakh crore of taxes is saved with the middle class, which actually targets India's urban middle class, increasing the disposable income, and this actually stimulates the consumption in the economy. So now let us actually see what it means by a consumption multiplier or the investment multiplier, and let's also see some concepts related to it, and let's come to and let's continue with the summary of the impact of the income tax cut. Talking about marginal propensity to consume and average propensity to consume, and of course the multiplier. So the marginal propensity to consume is nothing but the change in income. I'm sorry, the change in consumption is to the change in income. That is, how your consumption is increased or decreased due to the increase or decrease in your income, right? So the formula is the marginal propensity to consume is equal to change in consumption divided by change in income, right? So now, and there's also something called marginal propensity to save, which is nothing but the change in savings, the ratio of change in savings divided by the change in income, right? So this is the formula for marginal propensity to consume. This is the formula for marginal propensity to save. And one more thing, if we add these two, that is the marginal propensity to consume and marginal propensity to save, if they are added together, we get something called, we get like change in consumption plus change in saving divided by the change in income. So if your consumption is increasing, and of course your savings is increasing, what does that mean? That indeed means that your income is increasing, right? So therefore, this gives us something called change in income divided by change in income, which actually results in one, right? So marginal propensity to save and the marginal propensity to consume results in our answer to be one, right? And one more thing, and one more thing, there's something called consumption multiplier, which is which is represented by the letter K, which is actually the formula is K is equal to 1 by the marginal propensity to consume. I'm sorry, marginal propensity to save, which is also 1 by 1 minus marginal propensity to consume, right? So these two are the formulas which also we need to keep in mind. Now, Samvid, why are you telling us all these formulas? Actually, we were talking about the tax cut overviews, right? Or if we were talking about a tax cut overview. Now, the consumption multiplier mechanism was the second point, right? Now, the urban middle class actually spends about 20 percentage or on an average 30 percentage maximum on I'm sorry, the middle class actually saves 20 percentage of their income or on an average 30 percentage of their income, right? Now, if we are going to take 20 percentage as our savings, so this is with 20 percentage, which actually lead us to 1 by 20 percentage, which is actually 5 times, right? So your consumption multiplier is actually 5 times, or if you are going to take 30 percentage, so 1 by 30 percentage, which will lead us to 3.33 to be a multiplier, which actually means that if you are putting 1 rupee now from your savings, it will be multiplying to 5 rupees, right? And so the projected impact of the economy is nothing but additional income consumption of 5 lakh crores, because 1 lakh crore is going to be the additional income that we are going to provide them. But as per this particular approach, okay, if we are going to provide additional 1 lakh crore, then of course 5 lakh crore or bare minimum 3.33 lakh crore will be the increase in consumption, right? Now, the consumption growth, the percentage is going to be 4.8 percentage, versus the current consumption is actually 104 lakh crores. Now, this is going to be rising to an increase to approximately 108.85 something lakh crores. And the GDP growth projected is going to be 2.7 percentage, versus the current is 185 lakh crore, right? This is, I told all this to you with a multiplier of 5. But on the other hand, let's be a little bit conservative. To the multiplier of 3.33, the consumption will rise by 3.2 percentage and the GDP growth will be 1.8 percentage, right? Now move on to the next point. As you might see, this budget is actually much pro the urban middle class. But why does the budget actually focus on the urban middle class? First, their higher marginal propensity to consume. Right? As explained, the marginal propensity to consume is nothing but the proportion of income that is actually saved for the consumption. So spending on local goods such as electronics, durable, or education or healthcare, this is spent more on in the by the urban middle class. Rather, they do not have much aims for saving it for investing more again in the economy. So therefore, the part of the income that goes on for consumption is higher, but the part of the income that goes on for investment is much lower compared to the part of the income that goes on for consumption. And the next thing is lagging urban demand while rural. That is, the tax cut actually aims to retrieve discretionary spending, right? So this urban demand, because actually the rural demand is lagged by the urban middle class. So this particular personal income tax cut targets this urban middle class group specifically, which actually drives much of the Indian consumption of electronics, consumer durables, and of course entertainment. Right. So that is the second reason why the urban middle class is supposed to be top or targeted, and much after everything is to control the fiscal deficit to 4.4 percentage of the GDP, which actually boosts confidence in sustained spending, right? And so these are the three reasons why the budget is actually targeting the middle class. First, they have a higher marginal propensity to consume, because they spend on electronics, durable, education, and of course healthcare. And secondly, this urban middle class is actually lagging or pulling down the rural middle class. So the tax cut actually aims to retrieve the discretionary spending of the urban middle class. And third, to control the fiscal deficit to 4.4 percentage of the GDP, right? And the next thing that we're going to talk about is crowding effect, which is nothing but increasing demand. So crowding in effect is nothing but is an economic theory which actually suggests us that the government spending can increase demand and of course can stimulate the private investment. So this particular crowding in effect increase the demand, incentivizes private investment, as I told you, like new projects are hiring, and this particular crowding in effect contrasts to the crowding out, which fears that more significant rise in the government borrowing, right? Now, the next, so I hope you understood this crowding in effect, and the next thing is, okay, now if you're asking me the question, why am I specifying this crowding in effect? Because this increased demand from the urban middle class will actually encourage firms to commit a new project. So this will indeed will crowd in the private investment, right? So since this when this demand increases, the firms will commit in new projects, and automatically the private investment will start crowding inside the economy, right? Now, this particular effect is what is explained as crowding in effect by the expert. And the next thing is tax cut versus capital expenditure debate. Short term, the tax cut will, of course, provide immediate demand stimulus. But in the long run, the infrastructure capital expenditure will actually enhance productivity and growth, right? And especially the capital expenditure in roads, power, and railways will enhance the productivity and growth. And of course, the policy remains balanced, wherein the tax rate cuts complement but does not replace the investment-led growth strategy, right? So this investment-led growth was actually specified in the Economic Survey of 2020 to 23. This is an economic strategy centered on welcoming investments in sectors that contribute to economic productivity, including infrastructure, manufacturing, and of course technology. Right. And one more thing, this actually aims to uh, welcome investments inside India in all these sectors. So this policy actually remains balanced. The tax cuts complement but does not replace the investment-led growth strategy. The fiscal prudence, if you are talking about it, central government maintains fiscal discipline, keeping deficits under control. And last but actually, the gross national savings rate and the net national savings rate is the next point that we have to talk about. Wherein the average gross national savings rate and the next net national savings rate is nothing but net national savings rate, or net national savings is nothing but the savings excluding the taxes, and the gross national savings rate is actually the savings including the taxes, right? So over the last decade, has the gross national savings rate for an Indian household is approximately 30%, right? So which means that the average Indian household is actually saving 30% of their income. Now, as per the formula that I solved on the board, MPC plus MPS is equal to 1, right? So now the MPC is equal to 1 minus 30%, which is that particular average Indian household actually spends 70% of their income, right? Now, now the 70% of their income is the marginal propensity to consume, right? Now, the next thing is differences in marginal propensity to consume by income group. India's middle class actually have a higher marginal propensity to consume compared to the wealthy household, because wealthier households tend to invest their extra income in assets like stocks and real estate, while the middle income group or the middle class people actually tend to be like, hey, I want an iPhone. I want to buy this. I want to buy that. So the wealthier individuals are actually long-term investors, whereas the middle income are actually short-term investors, right? Now, so this is all about the analysis by Mr. Krishnamurthy Subramanian. Talking about the conclusion that he drawn, the personal income tax rate is a strategic short-term boost. I'm reading the exact words from the newspaper. Boost for consumption and GDP, while the long-term growth remains anchored in public investment. So, coordinated fiscal monetary measures aim to sustain India's growth momentum. Right. So, this is the conclusion that he has drawn. So, that's all for today's video. If you like this video, please do give it a big thumbs up, and also mainly subscribe to Samvid Money Minds. Right. So, for more information and more economic content, meet you in another video. This is Samvid signing off from Samvid Money Minds. Goodbye.